So welcome to the Blue Bridge. David Moyes has never won a game at Stamford Bridge. Who's up next? Charity FC. So welcome to the preview of Chelsea versus Everton. Let's get into it. So guys, that's a real quick preview here. Don't do a lot of these days, but David Moyes never won at Stamford Bridge. And Enzo Maresca, when asked about that question, he gave a little wry smile. Are we going to be the charity team, or Maresca going to be the charity manager, I should say, who allows them to get their first win at Stamford Bridge? A draw's not going to be no good for us neither, because we're now at the business end of the season. 5 games to go until the end of the season, and we got to win at least 4 of them. Everton being a big test, a low block team. David Moyes has got them well organised. Manchester City just about squeaked a victory in the last 7 minutes of that game, I believe. And so their record of late has been pretty good. So we are up against them. We know how we perform against low block teams, and we know that's an issue for us. Tomorrow, early morning kickoff as well. BT Sport. We don't do well in the morning, or not morning, midday kickoffs. We don't do too well when we have midday kickoffs. I think that's where our run started. Was it midday? We played against Fulham when we lost. I think it was an early kickoff in that game where we lost to Fulham in the on Boxing Day. But I said last week after my review of the match against Fulham that we can't rely on Tottenham, and so it was. So Tottenham did a Spursy, lost to Nottingham Forest. So Nottingham Forest are now 3rd in the table. Well, that pushed us back to 6th. And so, and going back to us in 6th position, once again the manager was asked, "Is this an improvement on last season?" He was a bit brash with his comments, a bit rude, I thought, to the reporters. And he said, "Look, where are we? Have we got into the Champions League in the last 3 seasons?" Obviously, the answer was no. We've been in the Champions League spot for most of this season, so is that an improvement? So I'd have pushed him on that. I said, my thing is, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. So you can't say it's an improvement until the end of the season. I did a whole video on this. I'll try and put it into the app below. So if you can click on that link, you can see the video that I did on that. But for me, it's more about where you finish. So being in the top 4 for most of the season doesn't cut it with me. I don't think it cuts it with the rest of the fans neither. He was asked about Tyreek George, and so I don't know whether he's going to be playing or not. And he says sometimes we've got to manage the young players. Sometimes they get excited, have good games, and they're not so good games. So for me, it looks like he's going to be on the bench again and come off the bench. I don't think he's going to start. I know a lot of fans want him to start, but I don't think he will be starting. And Cuckoo was asked about him, and obviously what he alluded to is his attitude in training hasn't been top notch. That's why he wasn't part of the matchday squad last week. His attitude on the pitch hasn't been great, to be fair, and that was a good decision to not include him in the squad, because I think his days at the club are possibly numbered. So it's that. So that was addressed, and I can't remember what else was addressed actually. But so as I said, tomorrow, big must-win game, and the ideal would be for us to beat Everton tomorrow, and then we got Liverpool the week after, and they got this week. Yeah, you got to Tottenham again. So I can't see Tottenham beating them, but it'll be typical Tottenham to pull off a result when it's least expected. But the ideal scenario is they could only need a point. They get a point or a win against Tottenham. They spend the whole week celebrating. So when we play them next week, they will not. The edge will be off. And even now, I can see Liverpool are kind of spluttering to the finishing line. They weren't convincing against Leicester the other day. The pressure's on. So would it be better for us to have Tottenham beat them and then feel the pressure? Because as I said, they're not playing well. If they're playing with a bit of freedom, maybe they may come out and have a good result, but we don't know either way. But that's a more of a must-win game for us than them, especially if they've picked up the title by then. And So if we can get 2 wins against Everton and Liverpool, the Merseysiders get a Merseyside double, then I'll be a lot more optimistic of a top 5 finish. But as I said, with our inconsistency, I can't put my house on that at all. So that is it. As I said, just a whistle stop one. I could talk. Let me just quickly talk about defenders, because it was said today that we are planning to keep 4 defenders: Badiashile, Colwill, Achampong, and Fofana, and all the rest are up for grabs. My thing is, why have we got like 8 or 9 defenders in our squad, centre backs? Again, down to poor squad building. So, but I'll address that more on a later video probably. Anyway, you optimistic about tomorrow, or do you think that Everton's low block is gonna get the better of us? Stick your comments in the section below. Don't forget, as always, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to be notified every time I make a new video. So take care, bye bye.